A lot of people hate Dubai.
So we're going for a rebrand. So we initially started the podcast, right, as Homevy Happening. So we are now rebranding to the Dubai Property Playbook by Homevy. Welcome to the first episode of the Dubai Property Playbook by Homevy. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. So we're back for, we're going to do a mix.
We're back for a rebrand, first of all.
Oh, yeah, true. So
right?
let's-
So let me get the right information first before the growth team come for me. Yes. So we're going for a rebrand. So we initially started the podcast, right, as Homevy Happenings, and that was inspired by our own internal kind of like newsletter that we as management would write at the end of every month. And then now we've kind of spun up a podcast out of it, but realized perhaps maybe the name might be quite limiting. So we are now rebranding to the Dubai Property Playbook by Homevy.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
So, welcome to the first episode of the Dubai Property Playbook by Homevy.
Ooh, ooh.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes. So I guess first edition, I mean, we can't have chosen a better time for it, I guess.
Yeah, what a time to be alive, eh?
Honestly, like we just started Ramadan, things were going well.
Things were going really well. I feel like we were on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
We were getting a lot of leads, you were closing a lot of deals, and the portfolio was growing at a really, really steady speed.
Nice, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
And
how do I put this? You
the
know,
powers that be.
No, actually, before that, let's say, because obviously entering Ramadan, you're going into the low season as it is anyway. So we were well prepared in advance for what to expect. Our occupancy was looking good. The revenue we were able to generate during that period was already looking good. And we were pretty satisfied, I would say about 80% of the way. And we were like only a few days in. Obviously, Ramadan is a time where you like to your
go
iftars,
out,
your taraweehs, your, connecting. And then literally after a week of Ramadan, after one full week of Ramadan, like you went to sleep one night, you woke up and everything shifted. I remember on the 28th, that day when everything started to happen, we went to the mall. We were in Mall of the Emirates. It was strangely weird and quiet, and we just thought,
and then all
this
of
is
the
amazing.
the
What's happened?
shops were like closing the shutters, and some shops were even closed. And I was like, "What's going on?"
Right.
Yeah, I remember actually.
And then we
Yeah.
literally went from Mall of the Emirates to Dubai Mall.
In 10
Started getting
minutes.
calls from family saying that, we've seen that this has been hit and the Burj Khalifa has been hit, and we're like, it's definitely not been hit. We're definitely right next to it. We can see the vibe, what's happening here. And that's when I realized that there's going to be a lot of media that, especially in the West, that will begin to spread the wrong message. So from our side, we straight away, obviously before anything, we spoke to family, but more importantly, we spoke to our owners and we let them know the state of play, because a lot of owners don't reside in Dubai or in the UAE. They weren't very, in tune with exactly what the state of play was on the ground. So we made sure to reach out to them, keep them informed with what it actually looks like, but also what it looks like in terms of their properties and their revenue. Because, some people were asking, is their property safe? They're hearing that buildings in Marina are being hit, buildings in many areas, but it wasn't so much the reality. So just kind of to calm the nerves, I guess, and also just to let them know that we're being very much proactive in many areas. So obviously, first thing, we try to protect their revenue, but we are a hospitality brand and a company, so our priority is to protect also the guests that we're hosting, right, and make sure that they're comfortable. And so maybe we should touch on that. Like when it first happened in the first week, what are some of the things that I guess from your side leading the operations that we had to do?
So it was, now that we're talking about it, it's actually kind of a blur. Like I cannot really believe that it all happened, now that I can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit, but I'm sure we'll touch on that later. But obviously we have never gone through something like this before, and it's not something that they talk about. And I think when you think of Dubai, you just think of this place that like everyone wants to come to. So no one's prepared for a war or anything close to, right? But there were cases where guests were checking out but couldn't leave because flights were cancelled.
Yeah.
There were guests, I remember one very specific saying, well, I've spoken to my embassy and my embassy has told me that I should not leave under any circumstances.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a guest checking in on the same day.
Yeah.
So we were kind of trying to manage that situation. A lot of guests saying they're scared, a lot of guests wanting to leave, but then also a lot of guests wanting to extend. And I think that was us being very proactive around reaching out to guests, making sure they were safe, kind of going above and beyond and making sure that if they did want to extend, they knew that they could with us. But it was a balancing act because we had guests whose reservations could potentially be cancelled, but we were managing guests who were currently staying, who may want to extend, but we don't want to tell them yes or no without yet understanding what the rest of the landscape looks like. Like, is this something that's going to last 3 days, 5 days, or is this going to be a thing? So that was quite difficult, but I think we did the right thing by getting ahead of it in terms of reaching out to owners. So I remember we sent them like this message, and it was referencing the Airbnb disruptive events policy. So the disruptive events policy is exercised by Airbnb such that if there is something like a war, for example, they have full ownership over hosts to basically cancel anyone's reservation. But the strangest thing was that the disruptive events policy didn't span across all reservations and all dates. It was only for, I think it was almost like the first 3 or 4 days of this war, if you want to call it that, actually happening. So guests whose reservations fell outside of those dates, we had ownership of what we could do with those, with those reservations. So it was kind of obviously letting owners know that we would do what was best for them in terms of protecting their revenue, but at the same time, being that we are a hospitality first company, wanting to make sure that we're also doing right by our guests, which is always a fine line, isn't it? So we had guests who didn't really know what they were doing. So they were in limbo, whether they were extending or not, or cancelling or not. So I think the first few days we were just dealing with refunds and cancellations. And obviously trying to make sure it's working for the owners.
We had situations where some guests wanted to extend and some were coming in.
Yes.
But then also those who were coming in didn't know if they were coming in yet. And those who were extending didn't know if they were extending yet. So it was like trying to balance it without forcing.
Yeah.
But also wanting to understand what the situation is. And then I think after a week or two, then we started getting requests from guests like, oh, I'm extending. I can't get a flight out. Can I get a desk and chair? Can I get like an extra bed? Can I get, do you have an apartment in the same building if I can't stay here, for example? Or can I stay with you guys? Because I really like how you've dealt with us. Do you have a different apartment in a different area? Because I think Marina was hit quite badly in terms of media and press and stuff. So a lot of guests didn't want to stay in those areas. Yeah.
Is it because of the debris that was dropping?
Yes. So the guests were basically saying, I don't want to stay in the marina. Can I move my reservation to a different apartment? Or I think debris hit in Creek Harbour as well. So that
was towards after a couple of weeks. But the first one was like around the Burj Al Arab and the marina. And obviously the marina's by the Jebel Ali port, which was a known target of what, Iran was saying that they would target.
And it affected Palm Jumeirah as well.
And Palm, So we had all units around there that had guests. The guests wanted to cancel their reservations early.
Or move.
And we saw a massive decline in inquiries against those type of units as well. So now I was doing a little bit of like recon, I guess, into our portfolio. And if we were to include our units in the marina and check our occupancy over this period, it would be 55%. If we
So
exclude,
if we include those units,
yeah,
okay.
if you exclude those units, we're at 80%.
Whoa.
So our market occupancy for this period since the 28th of February until I checked until the 17th of April, right? We're at 80%, excluding Marina, Palm, or like JBR, those sort of areas.
It's impressive.
Downtown was not affected, right?
No. And DIFC downtown was not so much affected. People still were happy to move to those areas because I guess it's kind of, protected somewhat. Probably still close to their works as well.
Yeah.
Because while initially a lot of the message was to work from home for people who work here, after a week, it was like, okay, let's return to the office.
Business as normal,
Yeah, business as usual. So,
and we had guests as well who didn't want to stay on high floors. So they were like, I want to be as close to the ground as possible. Do you have other apartments, same building or nearby on much lower floors?
I would imagine that places like Shoba, Atlant will have like an increase in demand.
Shoba, Heartland,
Communities.
Arjan, the occupancy there, it's like we get people saying, I'm in the marina now, I don't feel safe with my family. What do you have that's not in these areas?
Yeah.
So those were the inquiries. And it wasn't even just from like guests coming directly. Agents were also reaching out to us, sending us leads that way. So I think that's why we're able to do well. And they know the standard of what we're providing as well. It's not just a room. It's not just a home. You get hosted when you come and stay with Homevy. So I think that's the main thing that helped a lot as well.
But there is now like a shift that's happening, right? And as much as maybe we don't want to accept it, but we do have to acknowledge that the landscape of short-term rentals and holiday homes and tourism is going to shift and change. And I think one thing that we do have on our side is the Dubai government, such that I don't know if you've seen stuff that they've been putting out online, but just talking about like the amount of like money and effort and strategy that they now need to put in place to kind of rebrand, for lack of a better word, to rebrand and kind of build up their image again. I don't think they'll have to try very hard, to be honest, in my personal opinion, if it's worth anything. But on the ground, things have definitely changed. So occupancy, you said, is down.
Yeah, overall it's down,
Yeah, occupancy is down. But I do feel like we've been attacking it in a good way, such that we now know what the current market is actually looking for.
Yeah.
So I am like Facebook's biggest fan at the moment because I'm in a lot of like these groups where people are like, their leases are actually ending, and these are residents in Dubai. Their leases are actually ending, but instead of locking into another 12-month lease because they're unsure of what's about to happen or what will happen, they're like, well, if I can Airbnb hop for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, I'll just do that because they know that they'll get like a good rate.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to lock in those midterm bookings to secure our revenue over the next few months.
But an issue with that is now everyone is looking for a discount.
Yeah.
So people that don't want to pay 12 months, they're looking for something that will be cheaper than if they pay for 12 months.
Yeah.
It makes the prices, because I was checking on Reddit.
Fred,
yeah. And the people were posting apartments. I don't know if they are agents. I think they are agents. But some agents were posting and people were lowballing the prices.
Yeah. Like 3-bedroom in downtown.
Yeah.
Someone will post a 3-bedroom in downtown for 12K, right?
5K a month.
And then someone will comment and say, can you do 7? Right? And like when I was seeing this, so one thing that we've not done is just reduced our pricing completely just for the sake of getting reservations, because people that are renting 2 and 3 bedrooms for 5, 6, 7, even 10, 11, it's not just harming them actually. It's not harming the owners. It's harming the entire market.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because then there's a misconception that people can come to us and ask for the same, and it just doesn't happen. Right?
But it's getting better now, right?
Yeah.
It is.
100%.
It is. And that's why I think we made a good decision when we did. So we must accept that we have a couple of units that were on our short-term rental books that have now shifted and gone more long-term through the choice of the owners. But of the units that are short-term, the average stay, I guess now is 8 nights, which is, that's like true short-term. I mean, it's a bit longer than what Dubai typically is. I think it's about 4 nights.
4 or 5 nights, yeah.
But it's just showing that there's still, even at the occupancy I mentioned, there's still a strong demand for short-term, even amongst everything that's happening. So it's really like up to your personal preference, your risk appetite, and also what you want to do. Because on the flip side of that, we have had some owners, as you know, that will say to us, I don't want to accept anything less than, let's say, 15,000, just to throw a random number out.
Yeah.
But the reality is nobody's going to pay in this current climate 15,000 for your property.
Yeah.
Now, this is harming you in a couple of ways as an owner by making such decision, right? Because your property is overpriced, meaning all of the booking algorithms now doesn't favor your property because you don't make them any money. Yeah. Nobody's looking at it at that price and nobody's booking it at that price. Nobody books it.
So you're like you're on page 20 of Airbnb.
Exactly, exactly. And what the problem with that is when the market does pick up, the algorithm doesn't just automatically start to rank you higher.
Yeah.
And because you're not getting any bookings during this time, it means you're not getting any positive reviews.
Yeah.
So again, it's just a downward spiral when you take that stance, rather than saying, okay, do you know what? The buyer's given me a lot. I appreciate the investment that I have here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give back in a way that I'm going to also move with the market, maybe bring my prices and my expectations down slightly from what it would have been, start to give, a little bit more of a discount, and then hope for getting those reviews. And so your property can stand in good stead.
How important would you say like flexibility is in terms of like, let's say you've got an owner, right, who's very much like, I don't want to accept one night stays. I don't want to accept stays longer than 2 weeks, who's been very prescriptive of like what they want, and how important is it to be like flexible to make sure you're not pricing out others, or you're not just being stubborn for the sake of being stubborn?
Yeah, it's a good question. And the first thing that popped into my head is when we started Homevy, there was a couple of taglines we used to have. One of them was from owners to owners.
Yeah.
So I understand from the owner's perspective, right? But also from a business perspective, from our side. If we don't rent the property, we don't make money, right? But also, we don't want to just, even though it's in our contractual right to still rent the property at whatever price we want to, we still want to make sure that we're on their side at the end of the day and they're comfortable with their investment, because we always say we protect your investment, right? And that's the number one. So having that flexibility is good, more so for the long term, I would say. And just so that owners know that when they initially spoke with us and they reached out and we said that this is the way we are, when things do get rough and things do get hard, they see, yes, at least they are who they said that they were. And so being flexible from I guess, client management side of things is very, very important just for the brand's reputation. But on the other side of that also, we do have guests, right? And we do have staff, and we do have overheads and operational costs, etc., etc. And I guess one of the good things, and one thing that we can brag about and say with our chest, is that none of our staff members have had to go on unpaid leave, which I'm sure everybody's heard about. This illegal thing that's happening, which is quite sad. If you know the state of Dubai, you know that people work obviously here. You're here for work, or you're here as an investor. You have families to feed, and being put on unpaid leave. How do you pay your rent? How do you eat? And without choice, right? And they're just being made to sign this stuff, and it's quite sad. But I guess from a technical background, we're able to use some things that we can to our advantage, right? And we're able to build a lot in-house, save a lot of cost on all of these SaaS platforms that, they charge you, which has been very, 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 very useful. And I guess it's a soft plug to some of the stuff we're working on. But yeah, I think...
I'll jump in when you're done.
Yeah, I think overall, the flexibility, it harms us, but we look at the bigger picture. and we protect also our owners, but we protect the company's brand and we protect our
You mean the
employees.
inflexibility harms us, or the flexibility?
The flexibility harms us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the unpaid leave that some companies are doing, I feel like, this situation actually affected some businesses
For sure.
really
Absolutely.
bad.
For sure.
We are one.
And
Not even businesses, I'll say the industries.
yeah,
Industries.
because the Dubai market is built on people coming, people leaving. So when something like that happens, and it's not something we prepared for, and I don't even think the people who are involved in it prepared for it. So it was sudden, and the situation is just is sad generally.
For sure.
But thankfully, things are getting better, and everything will be back to normal.
100%.
Soon, inshallah.
100%. But aren't you grateful now in terms of the way that our portfolio is like built up? In terms of, you have short-term holiday homes companies who are mostly subleasing versus us who are revenue share.
That would have been a problem.
100%.
Subleasing, you pay rent regardless.
Yes.
And I think people who sublease, they kind of fall into the category of people who go to Reddit and any amount.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because they need to
need
meet
to
those deadlines to pay.
Yeah. They need to pay rent, pay staff. But regardless, it has upsides.
Of course.
And but the situation does not favor that kind of model. So to answer your question, grateful.
Yeah, very grateful, right? Yeah, for sure.
How many calls did you get, let's just say in like the first 2 weeks of this all kicking off, how many calls did you get from owners? And like, has the call rate
I spoke to
reduced
all of our
now?
owners, but probably 3. Yeah, and spoke to them multiple times as well, because it's all about relationship at the end of the day. And I do end up having a personal relationship with our owners, because I need to know, why do you have this investment here? And what's your long-term play with it? Because there's many investments, right? So just from that aspect, we'd end up getting into longer conversations. So now when this happens, they're calling me not just to find out about their property. A lot of owners were calling to find out about the guests in their properties. Even though they have a managing agent managing it, they know what we're doing. They're like, is there anything that I can do?
Yeah.
How is that? And then they get to see everything in the app. They know the names. So they're checking the names, calling me, hey, Sophia's in my apartment. She's due to check out. Does she need to extend? You can tell her that we're happy to accept no revenue. Yeah. I'm like, no problem. Like, this is great for us, because it shows the owners are more flexible, right? But yeah, to answer your question, I had to speak to them a lot. Many different types of conversations, as you can imagine. People that don't necessarily need the money. So they're like, I don't want to accept, where the market is going. So I'll leave my property empty. Thanks, but no thanks. Then you have some that's like, this is paying my kids school fees. This is paying my kids grocery money. This is feeding my family on a day-to-day. Those people need anything that they can get, right? But obviously it can't be too low, because they won't eat.
And I guess that's the advantage, right, of you being so close to the owners and building that relationship with them, because you get to actually understand the specifics behind what it is that they're trying to get out of this short-term rental arrangement. Because let's be honest, like, everyone's in it for the money because they think there's an upside, but there's different profiles of investors, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that risk appetite of the investor, because we know it beforehand, going into the year, it's very easy for us to make pricing decisions, because I know. And when I have the phone calls with them, I'm able to explain to them, this is why your unit is
empty, or what?
Empty, because we know that you don't want to just rent it out for pennies or fills, right? So, and they understand, they appreciate it as well. So yeah, I would say it's not been easy. Obviously being constantly available, making sure the team is good, because, at the end of the day, all of this fulfillment means that we still have, staff on the ground moving around with the uncertainty, not feeling super secure as many people felt when this was initially happening. But yeah, we're grateful for the team that we're building as well.
100%. I think the team has handled it really well as well. And I think we've done a lot to kind of if there's any alerts and stuff like that, we've been saying, team, go home. Like, it's not worth it. Like, we'll block the calendar. There's no check-ins tomorrow. Just
I've not seen those alerts in a while. Ooh.
Yes.
Peace.
Yes.
Please, guys. Right.
Yeah. But what's the what would you say the sentiment is of owners now, given that we're like, I guess we're out of the thick of it now, and perhaps going forward into
I would say
a new phase of this? Are owners still nervous, or are things picking up?
Look, every year Dubai goes through a low season and a high season. This is the first conversation I have with owners that have never experienced short-term rental before, especially in Dubai, because I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that has such seasonality, right?
Yeah.
So the initial conversation that I had was, this is a low season and it's an extended low season. And are you comfortable riding this out, not knowing when the high season will return? Because this is out of our control.
Yeah.
So while we want August, September, October to be the months that things start to pick up, we're not in control to say it's absolutely going to, right? So their risk appetite then comes into play. Are they willing to see how that plays out? And if they're not, then, maybe exploring some other options, selling the property, which I don't recommend, or going long-term and accepting the heavily reduced rates of what you're going to put the unit on for long-term.
And I think most of them have been understanding.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's part of when you invest and you're an investor, it's part of it. There's nothing that says you're going to get X percentage guaranteed, right? So.
And what about for people now who are thinking, okay, short-term rental, I'm in it, I understand it, but I need some revenue. So should I just go for long-term? What's your thoughts on that kind of
finding that balance
now? If an owner came to you tomorrow, and I know that when we give advice to owners, you don't sell Homevy, you actually sell what's best for them, even if it's not Homevy. So
this actually raises a good point. So if you have a property now in Dubai and you're thinking about putting it on short term, but then you can see that the revenue you're going to get over the course of the year perhaps might not be what you first expected when you purchased this property or when you decided to shift, you have a decision to make, right? Because you can leave it unfurnished and be in and amongst all of the other units that are online, or you can furnish it for short term. And now you have the flexibility of renting your property out furnished, which typically gets more money anyway, slightly, or you can rent it short term. So what we've done for the units that we've onboarded over the past month, we are speaking to those owners also quite frequently, and we're not opening the calendar months into the future in case they do get the opportunity to go long term, right? Because now we're happy to onboard your unit. We're happy to help you to furnish the unit. But then there's a decision that you still get to make, right? And we're still flexible on that. We obviously have the contracts that allow the flexible exit clauses for owners. So we have had a couple of units which we brought on to our portfolio that have, been photographed and gone online, and they've gone on long term, and it's fine.
Do you think it's a good time to go on long term at the moment?
Personally, no. But again, it's just dependent on the situation of the owner. So if you ask me, people are going long term now and asking for 30% off of the long term price.
Yeah.
Now, Dubai was a place where before, you would get maybe 20% ROI going short term. Now that's come right down. But what's going to happen is if you're going to get 20, 30% less of the long term rate, if you stay short term, you're going to make much more than that. Providing things improve around about the high season. And I think it will, to be honest with you. We're seeing now the numbers of what we're seeing in terms of the nightly rates for some of what we have available still. It's picking up, even at this time when I'm expecting low season. So we have our projections for the year. And, there's certain types of units that are doing really well. And it's almost as if it's not even low season yet, which is good to see, actually. And then on the other side of that, you have some of our villa communities, for example, that we have units in, and
smashing it.
It's high season over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
now, is there a reason for the villa communities? Is there a reason they are picking up and popping this period?
For sure. I would say not just that people don't want to, where our ones are located, people don't necessarily want to be in the marina in those areas. So they're looking at those places. And also, if you're with your family, right, it's much better to be in your own house, villa, let's say, than be in an apartment block. And I think there's limited supply for them.
Just on that as well, because as I said, I've been on Facebook. A lot of people have said, like, I don't know if I'm staying or leaving, and my lease is up. So before I commit, I just want to go and stay in a villa for 1 month, 2 months, see what the landscape then looks like, and then make a decision. Or I've spoken to someone and they've said, I'm leaving, my stuff is gone in storage, but I'm not leaving for another month, so I need somewhere to stay temporarily. And a lot of people have pets. They have dogs, they have cats. So there's not a lot of apartments that are pet friendly, which ours are. We've like spoken to the owners and we've explained the benefit of having a pet friendly apartment, and we've seen people who have booked our apartments because it is pet friendly.
I guess because each of us I just want to kind of take a sidestep for a moment, because each of us have pets of our own, right, at home. When this all was happening and it initially started, I don't know if you guys started to see like some of the posts that were going up, but a lot of people were leaving Dubai and leaving their pets behind.
How awful.
It's so sad, honestly.
Awful.
Like, I know when I moved here, what I did to bring my dog from the UK over here, right? And his flight was delayed and I was going through it.
Yeah.
So, like obviously speaking to our owners and, having that relationship was then easy for us to open them up to becoming pet friendly.
Yeah.
And then being able to go out to guests in the market and say, look, we're happy to have pets. It also brought some warmth to myself from a personal perspective as well, just being able to host them.
Yeah. I guess from a furnishing side though, if I'm talking with my design and furnishing hat on, I hate pets in an apartment. So we protect ourselves from the side of like always charging like a pet fee, but that's just for like additional cleaning, so we can steam clean everything for when a new guest comes in. So then there's like no traces of any pet hair, and then just in case there is any damage, so we're protected on that side also.
For sure.
So. Nice chat, guys.
We're not done.
No, I know. So every month, at the end of the month, we put out something on our socials called the Homevy Monthly Index. And basically it is a transparent look into our numbers, and we compare our Homevy numbers to the overall market. So things like occupancy, ADRs, average daily rate, etc. So walk us through.
Whose idea was that, by the way? Was it Toro's?
I thought you said that, so you were like wetting the floor for yourself, for me to be like, oh, wasn't it you?
No, not me.
It wasn't.
It was me.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was you.
Yeah, I didn't remember actually.
No, I thought it was you. I think it was Toro that just came up with the design.
Yeah, I told her. I remember.
Yeah.
Because we kept on getting, obviously, the data back.
Yeah.
And we were like, this makes sense too.
Yeah. Just share it.
For sure.
Do you think that's like, what was that decision like to share it with the outside world, especially when maybe numbers don't necessarily work in our favor?
Yeah.
But they always do.
Yeah, they always do.
True, they always do. But I remember, so we've been putting out the monthly index for a good few months now, right? And I remember at the end of March, right, we had the message, do we still post the monthly index for this month?
Yeah.
Right? And we were like, yeah, of course. Like, transparency is everything. That's why we're here, right? Mm-hmm. So we still went ahead and published it. And while obviously we do get the report and the breakdown in things like ADR, which is your average daily rate, it doesn't make sense so much to publish that because there's so many variables and it depends on each portfolio, each property. Something that's on a high floor typically will get a higher ADR than something on a lower floor. Again, something with more bedrooms, etc. So while we're looking at the entire portfolio, it's a bit of a skewed
data
to report on. But from the occupancy side, that's something that is across the board, very, very consistent. So in March, we hit 66% across the entire portfolio.
Mm-hmm. Compared to the market average at
which was 43%, right? So why do we think we're consistently hitting above the market? Why do we think we're consistently sitting above the market when it comes to occupancy? I would say it's because of the type of client that we're looking for, actually, and matching that with value in terms of how much that apartment or villa is going for. So there's always a sweet spot in terms of value for money, because guests don't want to overpay for something and get an underwhelming experience.
Yeah.
And they don't want to underpay, or they do want to underpay and get an overwhelming experience, right? But we don't want to offer that, you know, make them underpay. So we need to find that sweet spot, because if you make them overpay, they give you a bad review because it doesn't meet the expectation, right? So it's all about finding that sweet spot, which I think that we do very, very well. We set clear expectations for owners as well. So when we're giving them projections of what the property is likely to make, it sits in that sweet spot also of what we're comfortable with. And then that's what basically allows the occupancy to take care of itself. So anyone that's been following us and following me for a while will know that I'm always talking about occupancy does not equal revenue.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very easy to get high occupancy. And while we do get high occupancy at Homevy, it's because we maximize on pretty much the orphan nights just to squeeze the last bit of revenue for our owners. But we don't rely on that at all. If anything, those orphan nights, if you try and book 1 night or 2 nights in any of our properties, you'll see that they're priced very well. And people still do take them, right? So obviously that's when the demand is there. I mean, I just saw a 1 night get booked at 1,600 dirhams last night. Or 2 nights ago in Mag.
Probably Mag. Yeah.
But 1,600 dirhams in this climate for 1 night is not screaming low season.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Or not screaming war. So it just goes to show that, you know, if you have the right unit in the right location, you still win.
I guess that leads me nicely on to something special that you've been cooking up.
Yes.
Called the Homevy score. And I remember when you made it and when you came up with it, I kind of brushed it off a little bit because I was just like, oh, who's going to use this? Like, who would care about this?
Oh, you said that?
No, not really.
She didn't say it to me.
I didn't say it, but I was thinking a bit like, oh, who would want to use, like, who would want to take their link and whatever. But then I think the more the idea was built out and the more I could see how it would help us as well as help owners, I think the team started to get really excited.
So Homevy score is a listing optimization. In fact, let me go back. Homevy score initially was just understanding your listing at a glance. So typically when we have a new listing go live, we send it to different members of the team to review the listing, right? So the operations team will go, they'll review the listing, make sure all of the amenities are accurate, make sure all of the photos are capturing exactly what we want, you know, that everything that's around the community is displayed in the listing, the photos are right. And that is sometimes like a very time-intensive process to get a response back from each member to make sure that, okay, this is now ready to go live. So I thought, let's build a tool that almost does the work for us, right? So we're at least confident. And then once we send it to the team members to start using, it's easier for them to have an overview of that. Whilst I was building it, it then made me realize this is a great tool to start to optimize your listing and for us to then give to our owners, for our owners to check their listings themselves.
Like a credibility fact check kind of thing.
And get a score and get a bit of a report of, okay, why is my photos not HD, for example? Not that ours are. Or why is my description only, 200 characters? Like, why is this host not making the effort to really sell my property? Or, my title says that it's a 2-bedroom apartment, but guests are loving the view from the apartment. So why don't we put incredible view in the title so that when somebody sees the listing amongst hundreds of other listings, they click it because they can see, oh, it says amazing view. And the photo also shows what the guests are liking, So there's so many things that go into creating an amazing listing. And the tool has been built to actually show from a high level all of that. Even if you don't have experience of what to expect, it breaks it down really nicely for you.
So walk me through it. So I'm an owner of a property.
Yeah.
How do I use it? What do I do?
So you're an owner. you have a management company managing your unit. They've furnished it, they've listed it online, and they've said, okay, your property is now live. Sometimes you have no clue. You might not even get the link. But let's say you have the link. You take that and you punch it into the Homevy score webpage. It will then build a report for you, right? And it will tell you from top to bottom.
Using AI, right?
Yeah, and it's AI optimized as well. So it even looks at the algorithm and, we'll be able to start to look at things like, is this likely to be ranked on the first page? How many more reviews do you need to be guest favorite? Is your host a super host? All of these types of things. And then it will also give you recommendations using AI of what you should update. So it will look at your photos, it will look at your reviews, and it will say, based on this is the title that we recommend. And it will also be in the limits of the platform. So being that it's Airbnb, you've got a 50 character limit for your title. It will make sure what it suggests to you is within those parameters as well.
And it covers every single part of a listing, from title, photos, amenities, everything.
Yeah, when I first created it was about 67 points from what I remember. But it's increased even further now. So when you create a listing, there's so much that will go into it, So you create you upload your photos, but does your photos all have captions? Are you repeating the same caption, which is then not helpful, or are your captions relevant to the photos that you're putting online? I've spoken about titles already, but then the photos that you've put online, do they show the amenities in the property? Because it's always better to show and not tell. So while you might say that there's a Hoover and there's an iron and an ironing board, does your photos photograph those things? And is it visible for, prospective guests?
So the AI checks the description, checks the photos,
checks
if they
the
match
amenities,
up, basically.
and checks if those things match.
And then it gives suggestions to improve the listing?
Yes. So for example, let's use a blender, for example. If there's no blender in any of the photos, but your amenity states that you have a blender in the apartment, it will then suggest for you.
Flag it.
Yeah, exactly. Or flag that and say you should include a photo of the blender. And then there's stages, right? So there's things that will be highly critical. That's something that I would say is not critical, right? And then there will be warnings, right? And it will give you the suggestions of which ones are higher priority, what you should target first. For example, your title and your hero photo, those are always number one. If those are not accurate, you'll see those flag red. And those will be some of the things that will bring your score in your report down.
So then I get a report, basically.
Then you get a report.
Then I send it to my
share
property
your
manager.
report directly, or you can download it in the PDF and then share it with your property manager and say, hey,
you're doing a bad job.
You just say, hey, I've been looking at my listing in some more detail. I've noticed that there are these changes that I would love for you guys to make. Send it to them. Any good property manager should take them on board because they would also understand and they should make those changes pretty quickly. And if not, then it's a conversation probably you need to have with them. If there's anything in the report as well, like what I've been adding is now that you can reach out to us to have us break down your report and go through some of those decisions with you, with the expertise that we have.
And it's good that it's actionable. Imagine we're just telling people your title is bad.
Yes.
Your description is bad.
Yes.
So the fact that it's actionable means they can just take what we suggest and fix it immediately.
Exactly.
But I think that's because when it was built for internal use. For our team to use it so that they could improve the listings.
Yeah.
So with that in mind and that use case, like we wouldn't build something that isn't actionable for ourselves. So I guess then the question is, are we going to let other people be able to use it?
Yeah, for sure. Probably by the time you watch the podcast, you can go to homevyscore.homevy.com.
By the way, we have a lot of internet tools that's not public.
Yeah.
See how I've wet the floor now? Because when you said, does it use AI? I wanted to jump in and say, okay, within the next hour, how many times are we going to say AI across this whole podcast? Because we have a lot of tools. We use a lot of AI.
Yeah, before we talk about some of those tools, right, it's always important to understand that you need to have processes in place.
Yeah.
Now, even before we built Homevy Score, which I've been speaking about, we had processes and SOPs in place for our team to review those listings, right? Now, making a tool that then supports your processing is much easier.
Yeah.
Right? And this is an SOP that I can share to any holiday home company and say, this is the things that you should check when you're reviewing your listing. And then transition into some of our other tools, what we've built, right? Which one would you say is I guess I know which one's your favorite, but which tool would you say that's been built recently that's your favorite?
You might say that, I know you're probably thinking I'll say the dashboard. The ops dashboard is my favorite. Yeah. But even though it's not a tool, I want to talk about two. So we'll talk about the dashboard first. But I know it all bot.
Yeah.
I don't think it actually gets like the flowers that it needs.
The credits.
Because I know it all bot. If you think about that onboarding period when we had new members of HHT, like our customer support team, come on board, like we have a lot of properties and we have a lot of documentation for these properties. And the reason why we know where to find the information is because we created the documents. So it's very difficult to find it, know where to find it, and know what information we have if you weren't the one that created the information.
Yeah.
So the fact that I know it all bot, you can literally talk to it and say, what's the parking space number for Bird Views or whatever, or X property, and it will just spit it out to you and then put it in a message that you can literally just copy and paste and send it to a guest. But the message is not a ChatGPT type of message. It's been trained in our own Homevy way.
In our Homevy voice.
In our Homevy voice. I don't think that tool gets credit enough, to be honest.
Yeah. I remember, I'm going to tie this into a conversation we had very, very early on. I had a conversation with an owner and they said to me, you're still quite small. You don't have as much property. So I guess that's why you can have a small team. And I literally remember saying to them, it's not the size of the team that's able to support the number of properties we have, because you'd be surprised. So even as we've grown the portfolio, we've not necessarily had to grow
the team,
right? Because being able to support 10 properties and support 50 properties,
it's a different ballgame.
It's a different ballgame. But for our HHT team, if we take volume out of it, the responses and the process to get the responses for the guest is the same.
Yeah.
And it's very repeatable. It's made very easy. And that tool has lived more or less since the beginning of Homevy. Yeah. So I think, that's a good one.
It's actually sick.
Yeah.
It's actually sick. And the fact that you can talk to it like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like a guest has said XYZ, I want to tell the guest ABC, send me the message. And then it will send you the message. And literally you just need to add the human touch, proofread it, send it and go.
And you can even send follow-up messages.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it remains the context. You know what was really good is if you get a very difficult guest, and we're humans at the end of the day. So if a guest is making you frustrated and you're losing the will to want to reply to them in a very, very polite way, just use I know it all bot. Give it the context of the message from the guest. It will then craft for you a nice response to the guest in our brand voice, so you don't accidentally tell them to get lost, and then holding the context is very nice as well.
Yeah, so that's cool. And then obviously ops dashboard. So I think I planted the seed. Kay noticed the seed.
Yeah.
And then it grew from what Kay initially thought I wanted to now what it is.
But
today.
Even let's go back, like, seeing as we have the time, right? Let's go back, because I think Kay will remember we spoke about something similar a long time ago. And we were like, should we? Then we're like, nah, we shouldn't. It's going to be too much. There's tools that do it. Let's just use those tools. Should we use Notion? Notion's works. Let's continue using Notion.
We tried Notion.
It worked for a while.
We tried some other tools as well.
Yeah, we tried some of these SaaS tools that are out there.
But the problem is, if you need something in a specific way, there's no software or product that will build it the way you want it.
Yeah.
And especially with the mind that we have.
Yeah, we're like perfectionists.
Yeah.
So the problem is a product will have this, but doesn't have this. So I think the conversation started when, I can't remember how it started.
Inventory.
Was it inventory that started it?
I think the inventory was the thing that you picked up on.
Oh,
yes.
help desk.
And help desk,
It was help desk.
Yeah.
Remember we moved away from, I don't want to mention the product.
Yeah.
We moved away, then we moved back to Notion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then the team were complaining that Notion doesn't work, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
because I wrote down a Q1 strategic plan, basically, of what I was going to do. And then I sent it to you. And then you left a comment on inventory saying, I've got an idea for this.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
That was from, it was Fatima that suggested that.
She just wanted somewhere to track inventory that wasn't part of all of these tools that we use already.
Yeah, you can imagine that no tool is actually going to add like an inventory module.
Yeah.
Because they don't see it as
important.
So we just decided, okay, I'll do it myself. And I think that's a good position to be in. When you look at all the options and you just decide you can take it on.
Yeah.
And I feel like not every company can do it.
Of course.
So within a few days, we were able to cook up the MVP. I remember we had a call. I was in
Singapore.
Was this? Yeah, I was in Singapore and then we had a call and he was like, oh, this is nice, blah, blah. Then in less than a week, it was functional.
Yeah.
And then, the part that was the most impressive to me was how we made it into a mobile app.
Yeah.
That was the most. Anytime I get the notification, the push notification on my phone, I'm always happy that, The other day,
did that.
The other day I sent Toro a message that we are not blowing our horns enough because this internal app that is just meant for our internal team is fresher than
a lot of other things
most
out
apps
there.
that are public. And I think that's a good one. But eventually it will be white label.
Yeah, I think so.
And public.
Yeah. I think the issue with it's just exactly what you said is all of the other tools that we used, it's just it's overcomplicated and tries to do too many things but not do them very well.
Yeah.
And the one tool I'm thinking about specifically, I don't actually think they have short-term rental experience. So it's not necessarily built specifically for short-term rental, whereas ours is assuming that all teams are internal, right? So housekeeping is internal and we have a module for housekeeping in the same way that all of these other tools do, but it isn't something that is arduous to use or, annoying. It works and it's clean and all of the modules all link together. So
you can mention the modules.
Oh, okay. So let me see you wetting the floor for me. So we have a help desk. So that's for like all of our guest complaints and tickets that need to be opened, basically. And that's our customer support team and operations team that use that. We have inventory and furnishing. So that's two separate modules. So from the point of onboarding, design and furnishing, every property has or goes through a design and furnishing phase. So where I used to use an Excel spreadsheet to track orders, track inventory, that's now on an app. But the cleanest part of it, right, is you do everything in inventory and furnishing. You can then get pictures of every single thing that you've bought once operations go to do the final check, attach it to what you've bought, and then export it as a PDF. And that becomes the owner's inventory that has the item, a picture, and then you can just send that straight to them. But then that forms part of housekeeping's checks when they go and clean. So I know that there's meant to be a white vase that I put on the table when I designed. So now when you go and check, is that white vase still there? What's the condition? X, Y, Z. So the fact that it all links together is pretty clean. Look, you're proud of yourself. I can just see you there going.
I'm nodding like,
amongst other things.
Properties, reservations
is all on there. And the craziest thing is that I think the state that it's in now is probably like, it's functional, but it's not like perfect. So I can only imagine once it gets to that point where, this is sick. It'll be.
Honestly, the power of AI.
Yeah.
Because without AI, we wouldn't have been able to bring it so fast,
me
right?
Started.
No, I just
AI.
When you mentioned the modules, I thought, let me open it so that she doesn't forget any of the modules. And then I'm looking and I just laughed because it was last night. I was like, we're showing what our checkouts today are, but we don't show what our checkouts tomorrow are. And I'm looking now, checkouts tomorrow in the middle of my screen, like I can see. And it's
Tosin did it already.
Yeah.
And do you know what's crazy? Yeah, I think the best feature of our dashboard, the team members probably won't agree, but we have top speed bumps and top drivers. So context, we have HHT tasks. So our customer support team have like pre-arrival and post-departure tasks to do. And that's obviously very guest experience focused. Each one of the team members allocated a task. So top speed bumps, who has the most overdue or due tasks? Top drivers, who has the most completed tasks. We even have a task completion rate. They can check in, check out for their shift. It's sick. Proper sick.
And it's like
sneak peek.
We even have the team members who are using the tool more than what we are as the people who are building, developing, and continuously improving, who find things that they want. And one of those was a place for announcements, right? Now, like, for example, when all this political tension and stuff were happening in the Middle East, we were able to share it there straight away. So everyone across the company can just see it pop up as soon as they log in the morning.
Yeah.
What's happening? What is Homevy doing around this? How should I treat my guests? How can I respond? Like, normally, we have a specific cancellation period, but you don't want the person coming on shift to not be aware of, okay, there's an adjustment there. And then you upset a guest by giving them the wrong information. So even that, like, being able to take the information from the team members, understand what it is that they want, and then go ahead and put it in place for them, and being able to do it quickly. We've been able to see that, it really fills them as well with a lot of energy, I guess, to continuously put their best foot forward.
But I think, like, let's be honest, we've used a lot of tools in the company.
Yeah.
Right? And we've used some, left them, changed them. And I think it can be quite exhausting for team members to have to learn how to use new tools.
Yes, frustrating.
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that with Help Desk, or Ops Dashboard, should I say, we've been able to, like, launch it. But whatever suggestions they have, within 24 hours, sometimes even within an hour, the feature is there. I think that's what gets the buy-in and gets them, like...
Definitely.
Right? Because one of our team members said it would be great if we had, like, a scratch pad, just like personal notes that isn't shared elsewhere. It's just our own notes. Reminders.
Remember things, what to do whilst on shift,
1 hour, done.
That is fly.
My new concern is now that will lead to feature bloats.
Yeah.
Such that someone will just come, it would be nice to have a way to, like, order ice cream from the from the dashboard.
And before we can even intervene, Tosin's like done.
Good thing is we've got two WhatsApp chats, So we just have the dump where team is just putting in ideas, and then we have the high level chat where at least it has to go through some sort of, like, rationality, logic, and how it's going to work, and then we can add our 2 pence in. But I think that's a really great feature that I think we have. I think one of our strengths that we don't talk about enough is how tech savvy we are and how much we use tech within the company to make us more efficient, more lean. And it's almost like an afterthought when we talk to owners, like, and by the way, we have our own app. And by the way, in this app, you can see every single reservation and all of the numbers transparently. Like, we don't hide anything from you, rather than leading with, we have an app, you see everything. This is, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's something we need to be more conscious about, because it comes easy to us. So we don't see it as a big deal. Yeah.
But when we first started, I remember thinking, tech first hospitality brand. But everybody tries to use tech first and they're not tech first. So I was like conscious about not using that and not leading with it as well. Because what does it mean? Like,
it means AI.
Really, but do owners really care about it so much?
Yeah, I think...
so it's finding the balance.
That's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid. Because owners they care about revenue.
Yeah.
But they don't care about the tech because they don't know what the tech can enable.
Yeah.
And then what benefit it has to them.
Now, I was going to wrap up by saying that I can't tell you the number of times that towards the end, like, for example, if we have an owner and they're considering us and another company, when we start to talk about the transparency, the application, the tech that we have, a lot of the time that is what seals the deal. Especially if I'm with them in person and I can show them directly, or if I get them on a call and I do a screen share with them, then they start to appreciate it, because they go to the others and they're not able to do the same. Or they say, yeah, you can log into HostAway and check it in and amongst all of the rest of your properties that you might have, or, you know, it's not as good and transparent as what we have and what we're able to show.
And when we say transparent, like, what does the owner actually see in terms of numbers in the app?
I think before you even just say no numbers, the question would be, what can the owner not see relating to his property? Because if there's something an owner can't see relating to his property, he should make it us aware so we can make it available in the application. But I'm yet to have anything.
One thing that would have been uncomfortable for us is reviews. The fact that owners can see their reviews, it's in a way very confident.
Yeah. And it doesn't always work in our favor, right? Because we're not perfect.
But we don't hide from it, though.
But we don't hide from it. You know, we do have cases where, you know, a bad review gets left and an owner sees it in and he's asking the question of what happened with this. And then we have to do our research, do our understanding of the situation, explain it to the owners, and own it at the end of the day, you know. We can only obviously get better from it, but it's good that, again, even when it doesn't go in our favor, we're still happy to show you. Whereas, and that's just with reviews, but, you know, there's other companies who won't even tell you what your listing is. Let alone what your review on that listing might be. You know?
For sure. So I guess we'll wrap up with the $1 million question.
Wait, up what? We've got a couple more features, no?
What? Yeah, but we're not going to go through every single feature of the ops dashboard, are we?
But we got the inbox that's in peak beta.
We can run through it.
What, the inbox?
You didn't even talk about it at all.
I didn't even talk about the inbox. So the inbox is a unified inbox. What does a unified inbox mean? All messages across all booking channels. So Airbnb, Booking.com, VRBO.
WhatsApp.
If a guest is messaging us on WhatsApp, if they're sending us something via email, it's one inbox, one page, instead of having to work off of all of these different apps.
You know, it would be nice to add like a screen recording
video
in the edits.
Yeah, we can. And the guest will message. We can see where the messages come from. We can literally message them back in real time. The guest will receive that message within whichever platform they initially messaged us from. All of the reservation information is accessible. So, for example, Lee is messaging us. I can see the property he's in, when he's checking in, checking out, how long he's staying, what his payment status is, his WhatsApp number, even though he's not messaged us on WhatsApp. How many guests who are staying, all without leaving this screen that I'm in now.
And if there's any issues linked to his stay, for example, if he's been staying with us for a couple of days and he notices something, the HH team will raise a task or a help desk ticket, which will then get attached to that same reservation, and everything's in one single pane of glass. It's amazing.
And I also have the ability to generate an AI summary. So, for example, if I am coming on shift and maybe this guest has had dialogue with someone else before, rather than having to read through the whole, 57 messages, I can just generate myself a summary and understand what his sentiment is. If he's happy, sad, pissed, or not pissed, I can leave myself a private note, which is only visible to myself, add notes, all from the exact same module without having to click anywhere. And
then this leave tracker that I almost said no to.
Yeah, and I was gonna say for sure, like the schedule and the leave tracker is a massive help for.
Yeah, so schedule. So we have a 5-member team, and the schedule used to live on Google Sheets. So now it's been moved into the dashboard, so I can see who's on shift.
That's the hospitality team.
Yeah, the hospitality team. So we can now see who's on shift, who's coming off of shift. They can leave handovers within this dashboard. And leave tracker, as much as these two want to come for me with my leave tracker, every single leave tracker tool out there you have to pay for, or it's too complicated. I just want to know the name, how much leave you have, how much leave you've taken, when you've taken it, what's your balance, without it being too bloated. And obviously we use Zoho. Zoho has its own people manager, but it's like, I don't need all of this.
Zoho. Oh.
I don't need all of this just for tracking leave. So we just created it ourselves. And how great is it?
Yeah.
Like, you can literally see who's got balance, who hasn't got balance, how long they've been in with the company. So yeah, if we white label it, we might not include the leave tracker. But if someone's willing to pay an extra 50 fils a month to have it, then at least the work's already done.
So one of the major problems in short-term rental is pricing. And a lot of team members struggle with it. So let's say a guest comes and say, I want 2,000 dirham discounts. Now you need to do a lot of mental maths to figure out, does it work? Does it not work? And also there's a level of subjectiveness that comes into that. So we're like, okay, we use Slack. What's the easiest way for every team member to have a good idea of what pricing looks like? That's one use case. Another use case is when talking to owners. So I have a property, 1 bedroom in Marina. How much should I expect? It sounds like a very simple question.
Yeah.
But it's complicated.
Yeah.
Because first, I need to know how much is your long-term renter for 1 year. Add this percentage, deduct the bills, deduct a lot of mathematics. So we created this bot on Slack where we just say, 1 bedroom in this building in Marina. What's the projection like for short-term renter?
Yeah.
And just within a few seconds, give you the whole math. Technology.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why we named it Prophet.
It was you.
No, it was not. Was it you?
Yeah, yes. I think it was me.
Oh, I thought it was Tori.
No, it was me.
Like that.
Prophet. Because you can look into the future.
Prophesize your revenue.
That came to you in the middle of the night and you started laughing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I know it all. Later I had to edit the description of the bot to say, I don't know it all.
Yeah.
The team members were asking some questions that I was like, oh, he knows it all, but not that
much.
But not even that, it doesn't know it all. We had to then restrict it, right? Because it can, but there's a charge, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember when they blew all the credits and then I know Allbot wasn't functional for a couple of days?
They were having too much fun with it.
Yeah.
So these are just, we didn't even remember Prophet Boss. So these are just like
some of the things.
Some things we do internally that we don't see as a big deal. But when you sit down and analyze it, you realize that it shows a level of intentionality.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think every time we talk about Homevy at this level, it does remind me like, oh, we're actually killing it. Because in the day-to-day of things, like you just think, another thing.
Yeah.
You just feel like you're firefighting daily. And then you just have like this type of conversation. It's like, yeah, guys, pat on the back. Like, we're actually not doing too bad.
I think it's the same applies to life as well. So when you are inside life, you're just... And then when you sit back and you just think about it, you realize that I'm better than where I was last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Are you still feeling good about Homevy and the future, given this current situation that we're in? What's your overall thoughts and feelings?
At the start of the year, was it this year when we did our crisis management pod?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was this year.
So at the start, what was it called?
POV, we failed.
Yeah. So we did a podcast, right?
Yeah.
POV, we failed. And we listed out all of these hypothetical scenarios of what could potentially make us fail so that we can try and avoid them or know at least how we can react to them. I remember one of those was a COVID-like situation.
Yeah, I said that, and then we completely glazed
over it.
We
kind of just like went past it so fast.
We completely glazed over it.
And then now look at where we are. But I'm so glad that we did that, right? Because it just brings some perspective on, okay, I remember at the time mentioning about diversifying some of the revenue and how it comes in and understanding what it looks like. So how positive are we feeling? Personally, I'm still very positive because I know we've spoken about all of these tools. I know the intentionality that we have at the top level, and I know how that filters down throughout the entire company and how much everyone comes together and is bought into what we're doing. So that makes it easier. But then also understanding the scope for what is to come.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the things that I really wanted to do initially was have a mark, like a real mark in this industry, and bring value, not just to us, but to owners across the board. And I think some of what we are starting to release out there to the public, to owners, to help them be more aware of their investments is something that brings like great joy. But also I know the value that we're providing is something that you can't feel disappointed about where we are today, right? Given the circumstances. So to capture everything, I think we're in a good place. And I think that we just need to keep on keeping on. Even with all of this, it's difficult. Don't get me wrong. It's tough. You can see the numbers aren't coming in maybe what you were expecting at this time of year. And you can see, like you're managing people. People are going through difficult times. We've just had to deal with, something really difficult with one of our team members, like something that's completely unexplainable. And then the human element just comes in straight away. So you're dealing with all of this while looking forward, okay, what does this mean for the company? And a lot of the time for me, it just makes me want to go harder so that all of the people who were with us in the beginning and all the people who, without us even having to give bonuses or give them extra incentive, you see their effort on a day-to-day basis. So I think we're in a good place. How about you?
Yeah, I kind of feel like a major part of business comes with problems. At times, problems that are not within your control.
Unavoidable.
But generally, personally, I'm good, positive. We'll be fine. We are fine.
Yeah.
And I've kind of seen, because we've not experienced this before as a company, and we've kind of seen how we handled it.
Yeah.
Which means, how bad can it get?
Please. But I'm with you.
I think we're out of the thick of it.
Yeah.
To be honest. And I think if the powers that be just calm down a little bit and think with their minds, then inshallah, we'll be on our way up. And I think, that quote, only the strongest survive.
Yeah.
I think that will be us at the end of it. Like at the end of this year, we can look back thinking, oh man, it was tough.
Yeah.
But we're here.
So. I mean, some businesses survived COVID. COVID was bad.
Yeah.
So.
And Dubai survived COVID. Let's just get that out there. Dubai survived.
From what I know, Dubai was one of the main places that people wanted to be in the world during COVID because it wasn't like, for example, in the UK, you're allowed out of your house for 5 minutes per day. Don't even say hi to your neighbors for too long. Stuff like that. And I feel like now, as much as we're seeing it's a bit more quiet, for us as residents, it's lovely.
Yeah, we're loving it.
I've had like friends messaging me because they had holidays booked. They're like, is it safe? Should I come? I'm like, you'll never experience Dubai at a better time. So I can't tell you to come, but if I was you, I would be there, right? And like, I've had friends that I've traveled over, they're loving it. It's so peaceful for them. People that I know have decided to still relocate to Dubai during all of this. I think, there's no better time to be in Dubai. So if you're planning on coming to Dubai, I mean, selfishly, I'd say don't come, but unselfishly, like, you'll never get a better time.
So is Dubai still a place that people should keep on their like bucket list? Or
definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely. But I feel like, the recent events made me realize that a lot of people hate Dubai.
Not a lot of people, a lot of countries hate Dubai. So the media around it.
The media around it. Because I'm in my house chilling, then I'll go to Twitter and I'll see something like, leave Dubai now.
Burj Khalifa's burning down.
I was like, come on.
Yeah.
So I think the media made it worse.
100%.
than it is. And you know, media is powerful. So someone that is in Germany watching the news will believe the news because they are not here. Right? But down here we are good.
100%. I remember my mum was like, "Come home." I'm like, I am home.